Welcome back to the Explainer, everyone. Okay, if you've been holding your breath for the next massive leap in AI development, well, today is the day. We are digging into the highly anticipated release of Claude Sonnet 5, which officially dropped on June 30, 2026. We've got the essential executive briefing lined up for you, straight from the platform changelogs, so let's jump right into it.
So here's our migration game plan today. 1, we're going to meet Claude Sonnet 5. 2, look at pricing and features. 3, cover 3 critical breaking changes. Definitely stick around for that. 4, break down a sneaky tokenizer budget impact. And 5, your next steps.
All right, part 1. Let's officially meet Claude Sonnet 5, the big reveal.
Anthropic is not messing around here. They're positioning Sonnet 5 as an absolute monster of a model, starting with a completely mind-blowing 1 million token context window. Just to put that into perspective for a second, you could literally dump several full-length novels in there in one go, or, drop in an entire massive code base all within a single conversation. It's huge.
And the flip side of that is just as wild. The output token limit has been pushed all the way up to 128,000 tokens. So not only is this model swallowing a phenomenal amount of data, but it can now generate incredibly long, sustained, and super comprehensive outputs to match.
Okay, moving on to part 2, pricing and platform features. Let's talk about the bottom line. So, they've rolled out this introductory pricing model, and it's honestly highly competitive. We're looking at just $2 per million input tokens and $10 per million output tokens. That makes migrating look pretty darn attractive, right? But there is a really important timeline you've got to watch here.
Because, that introductory rate, it definitely doesn't last forever. The pricing launched on June 30, 2026. But you actually only have until August 10, 2026 to lock in your strategy before the standard pricing kicks in. So you'll absolutely want to plan this migration sooner rather than later.
Now, what's really interesting here is the feature shift. The full set of tools carries right over from Sonnet 4.6, which is great, but you really need to pay close attention to operational support because the priority tier is entirely removed in Sonnet 5. If your production workflows were heavily leaning on that priority access, well, it might be time to buy your ops team some coffee and recalibrate those expectations.
Which brings us to part 3, 3 critical breaking changes. Consider this the red alert section.
Okay, listen up, because these are the things that will literally break your apps. Number 1, adaptive thinking is now on by default, and nope, you cannot disable it the old way. Number 2, manual extended thinking, completely gone, removed. And number 3, non-default sampling parameters are totally rejected now, meaning if your code tweaks things like temperature, top P, or top K away from the defaults, your calls are going to fail.
And if you just ignore these changes, your reward is a hard fail 400 error. I mean, manual extended thinking was actually deprecated back in 4.6, but here in Sonnet 5, leaving that parameter in there or tweaking those default sampling values instantly triggers a 400 penalty. So you absolutely have to strip those out before you flip the switch, otherwise you'll be spending your whole weekend fixing a down system.
All right, part 4. Let's look at the tokenizer budget impact, the hidden catch.
So Claude Sonnet 5 introduces a brand new tokenizer, and it fundamentally shifts your data volume. For the exact same input text, this new tokenizer actually produces roughly 30% more tokens compared to the previous models. So depending on the shape of your workload, an input that fit perfectly comfortably in 4.6 is now, well, significantly larger. Which kind of leads me to ask you directly, does your current budget actually cover a 30% token increase? Because if you've been estimating your costs or your context usage based on old Sonnet 4.6 token counts, those numbers are unfortunately totally out the window now. You really need to remeasure your typical inputs against this new tokenizer right now before you just assume your workloads will safely fit into your existing context window or your budget.
Okay, final section, part 5, next steps for developers. Let's get into the action plan.
To make sure you manage this migration as smoothly as possible, Anthropic has some dedicated guidance right in their platform docs. First up, you want to read the What's New in Claude Sonnet 5 page. That's going to give you all the strict technical details. After that, definitely review the Prompting Claude Sonnet 5 guide to pick up on the updated model-specific prompting patterns.
And for basically everything else, here is your key resource. For the full, plain English manual covering the whole Sonnet 5 migration, and really just mastering everything else in the Claude ecosystem, you're going to want to head straight over to claudemaster.net. It is just an absolutely indispensable resource for getting up to speed quickly and, more importantly, correctly.
All right, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to take back to your dev team. Are your API calls truly ready for the 1 million token era? Or is there a lingering parameter sitting in your codebase right this second just waiting to trigger a hard fail 400 error? Go check your code, run that new tokenizer math, and get yourselves ready to unlock the incredible scale of Claude Sonnet 5. Thanks for joining me today.